Hello, hello. Hi, Amy. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, Cindy. Thank you.
I'm. That's great. That's great. Real quick, Mr. Dustin, I'm here. Number one, number one, number one.
Number one.
Yes, he thinks he's number one. He was just first in the chat today. And then he says, I made myself better patties with cheese sauce I made from pickles, pickle juice, onions, and cheese. I was wanting that White Castle taste.
Yum.
Dustin, I will tell you, my mom used to make the just take a pound of ground beef, a packet of onion soup mix it together, flatten it out in a baking dish, and cook it until it was done. And then she used those little Pepperidge Farm dinner rolls, threw a pickle on it, and it tasted just like White Castle's. Way easier than it sounds like you did. Lynn, hey there, Cindy, and everyone. This evening, Dustin's showing off by being first. You're right. And he's saying hi. This is Rick, Amy, the one you just
Hi,
watched.
Rick. Yes,
Greetings
hi,
to
Rick.
all. Go ahead. What were you saying?
Oh, I was just saying, hi, Rick. Your story really touched me. Thank you.
It was awesome. Sean, good evening, all. Andy, wow, you're here, and I didn't have to remind you. Yay! And Lynn's just saying hi. Jeff says good evening, everyone. And Rick is saying hi to Lynn. Andy's
Hi,
telling us
Andy.
hello. Hi, Jeff. Hey, Cindy and Amy from Charlie. This is Charlie. Did you meet him at Keto Palooza?
Probably.
Okay.
I met
Hi,
everybody.
Lynn. Hi, Amy. Jeff's, I was number 2 with the like button.
Like
Thank you
button.
so much. Definitely hit the like button. Hey there, Darth Carnivore, which is Charlie. I'm number 8 or thereabouts, says Rick. And Lisa's here. Howdy, gang. And here for all of you is the link to Amy's new channel. She's a new YouTuber. And he say, I'm going to jump into Cindy's chat. Hey, root of me. Hi, Amy. And hi, Cindy and Amy. So, Amy,
Yes.
Amy's been really excited, I got to tell you, about being in here, about being on here. At Keto Palooza, I just met her.
Mhm.
She got up to the microphone, told a little bit of her story, and I looked at my sister and she looked at me. She said, You got to have her on. Literally went up to Amy. I said, Hi, come with me because I had to pee so bad.
We were in the
I had her
bathroom.
follow me into the bathroom so we could talk and then get back out there. And that's how all this came about. Amy, James, Andy, there it is. There's everybody. All righty. And hiya, Andy. Well, thank you, Dustin. Everyone sends super chats. Cindy and Amy are awesome. I appreciate that, buddy. And James is laughing. Hi, Sean. So I know I've very little have I heard, with just what you shared at Keto
Mhm.
Palooza, and then what I've seen watching some of your older videos that you've been posting.
Yep.
So tell us what got you started, why you got
Yep.
started with keto,
Mhm.
and Lynn just subscribed to your channel.
Woohoo! Thank you so much, Lynn. So, first of all, let me just start like back from the beginning. And I think this is like most of us. So, well, some of us, some of us, we all have different backgrounds. But growing up, I was a thin kid. Like, I didn't have weight problems as a kid. I grew up with four older siblings, and this was during the 80s, and we played outside, and my parents didn't have a ton of money. So, my mom was a stay-at-home mom. She cooked normal meals. We didn't have a lot of snack. We didn't snack a lot. So we ate at meal times, and I was really tall. I mean, I'm
You
five
still
foot
are.
nine. Yeah, I'm 5'9" now. I was a little taller. I've shrunk, but I think the surgeries that I'm going to talk about kind of shrunk me a little bit. But they even called me Olive Oil as a kid. Do you remember the Popeye cartoons
Of
and the
course.
real thin, skinny? When I was a kid, the other kids called me Olive Oil. So they made fun of me because I was so thin and tall. So I didn't have a weight problem as a kid. Some people tell their stories and they've always had a weight problem. I didn't. So in high school, I was still thinnish, but we did have one thing that kind of happened. I played a lot of sports and I played volleyball for Mishawaka High School, and we were a renowned sports team in the state of Indiana. The volleyball team at Mishawaka we went downstate every year. We were a known program, and we had a tough coach, and he made you run based on your weight. Well, taller, you run more. So I was always trying to lose weight because I hated running, right? So like we would pack Slim Fast in our lunch, and instead of eating the school lunches, we would drink a Slim Fast. So I mean that back in the 80s they had came out with those Slim Fast cans, or we would just eat a banana. We wouldn't eat meals. So kind of got into some weird eating habits in high school. Because my shorter friends only weighed 90 or 100 pounds, and I weighed 130 or 140 pounds, which was thin for me. I was tall. So I didn't like that I had to run more. And I really didn't start gaining weight until maybe college, but I think everybody gains weight in college, right? Because you get a car and you can drive and you can go through fast food. And I got a job at a grocery store. So, I mean, I didn't weigh 130 pounds anymore. I started to creep up towards 150, 160 pounds. I wasn't exercising as much. But still, I weigh 150 pounds now. So my frame at 155 pounds, I don't consider myself overweight. So I don't think even going up to 155, 160 pounds in college was that bad. Um, so, my weight started to go up a little bit up and down more a little bit in college. So when the health problems started to happen was more in my late 20s. I met my husband, we were dating, and I was about 29. And I always suffered from severe allergies and asthma, even since I was a little kid. And when I was 29 and I had just started dating my husband, I got this sinus infection, right? Terrible ear pain, terrible. And usually sinus infections take what? A week, a month to go away, however long they take.
If you're
This
lucky. Yeah.
this This one, they just kept putting me on round and round of antibiotics. And finally, the doctor's like, I can't give you any more antibiotics. I just can't. So my ear hurt so bad. I couldn't sleep. And this one went on. This kept going on. So they kept sending me to doctors. They eventually decided, they were looking for tooth pain because my whole side of my face hurt. So like, you have a bad tooth. And then they're like, we need to do an MRI on your head. We need to check you for a tumor. We need to check you for MS because this pain in my ear I mean, we started going on like 6 months to 8 months, and this pain was not going away. And
Wow.
they're like, the doctor, and then they're like, you're imagining this. This is all in your head. So they're like, she's cuckoo, and they started putting me on like antidepressants and stuff, and she's not right. So eventually, I was diagnosed with a condition called trigeminal neuralgia, which is a pain disorder where a signal in your nerves in your head just keep transmitting to your brain that you're constantly in pain. They tested me
Ooh.
for everything. And um, the weird thing about my condition, though, is my ear was affected. Sound, I couldn't watch TV. I couldn't stand a loud car passing through the neighborhood. I had to wear earplugs in my ear because just sound hurt so bad. So they put me on opioids. So I was eventually up to 6 Vicodins a day. I was taking
Holy cow.
Vicodins. I was taking Klonopins. They put me on diazepams. I was taking temazepams to sleep, which didn't even touch it. If you Google trigeminal neuralgia, it's called, oh, my little Alexa just went off. Sorry. Um, if you Google trigeminal neuralgia, it's called suicide's disease. And I'll get to
Wow.
that more in a minute. But they, and back in the mid 2000s is when they were just writing a prescription for opioids just right and left. And I was one of those people that I was just taking, and I was driving around town. I was taking this concoction. I would take my daughter to school, my stepdaughter, I'd drive her to school. I was functioning. I don't know how. Holding a job. I don't know how I did it. And then finally, they put me on this prescription called Lyrica. So if you've heard of gabapentin for pain,
Yep.
Lyrica was this drug that just came out in the 2000s, and they kept upping my dose and kept upping my dose, and they just kept upping my dose. And finally, they got permission, I don't know if it was from the FDA or from who, to go 2,000 milligrams over the FDA approved dose for me. So they put me on this wild, crazy dosage over, and then eventually I got to the point where I'm like, I can't breathe. Like something's going on. And later Lyrica was a known problem that people were dying from Lyrica because they were found that they couldn't breathe on Lyrica. So they eventually had to take me off of that. But I was just taking this huge concoction of pills. I don't even know how I was walking around as a human being. And this went on for 2 years. So it wasn't like 2 months I was doing this. I was taking these narcotic concoctions for 2 years. I was suicidal. I wasn't sleeping. Um, I mean, you can only go so long without, I mean, I wasn't sleeping at all. It wasn't like I would sleep a couple hours. I wasn't sleeping at all. And finally, I would just get in my car and drive to the ER. My husband went with me the first time. And he's like, you have to do something for her. She's not sleeping. She wants to kill herself. You got to do something for her. So they would give me a shot of morphine. A shot of morphine was the only thing. And I would get about 2 days sleep out of that. So
Oh
the first
man.
first time he drove me to the ER, they gave me a shot of morphine, and I was still taking the Vicodins when I, when I get the shot of morphine. And then the second time was in the middle of the night. I'm like, Dennis, I can't take this. I need a shot of morphine. I drove myself to the ER. They looked at me. They thought the doctor at the ER said, "Well, my neighbor has trigeminal neuralgia and he's fine." And they made me stay there like all night suffering, and then in the morning they finally gave me the shot of morphine, and then my parents came and got me and took me home. So
Wow.
because I don't want to bother anybody, because I was miserable all the time.
Yeah, I just
So
found that on Google,
mhm,
and I put a link to it's with Hopkins Medicine about that trigeminal neuralgia.
neuralgia. So uh, I fired a couple local doctors because they were just reading about it in the book. They're just like, well, you just need to take this drug and this drug. And I'm like, I'm taking those drugs and they're not helping me. So I fired a couple local doctors, and my general practitioner at the time found me this amazing surgeon in Detroit. He unfortunately died, but he was a brain surgeon. And I went up to him and I put my hands on my hips and I'm like, look, I wanted to go to Mayo Clinic, but they sent me here. And he's like, well, you can go to Mayo Clinic, but they'll just send you back to me because I'm the best. And I'm like,
There you go.
well, I'm like, okay, well, let's hear what you got to say then, right? And this guy, oh my gosh, my heart breaks that he's no longer alive. Now I'm going to cry. He died at 50 years old, and this man saved people's lives. He would go to Africa and remove brain tumors from kids, and
Wow.
he fixed me. He drilled a hole in my head. He nicked my trigeminal nerve a third of the way through. He put another surgeon was with him, Dr. Salish Babu from the Michigan Ear Institute was there. He put some foam around the ear of my nerve. I don't want to go too much into detail, but I was really sick after that surgery. That one took a while to recover from, and they cured my trigeminal neuralgia. I was cured. So that happened. But then I had to get off all those drugs, right? So I got off all those drugs and I was like vomiting and stuff. Like I could have become a drug addict. I don't know how by the grace of God I was on all that stuff for 2 years because the Klonopins were the worst. The Vicodins were easy to get off, but I cut the Klonopins off cold turkey, and I remember going to work and vomiting in a trash can underneath my desk. And I don't know how my coworkers didn't know what was going on. I was sweating and clammy, and they didn't give me anything. They're just like, you just got to stop taking this medication. And I really feel for people who have drug issues. It's not easy.
Yeah, coming off and I mean, I saw, like I said, I saw my son go through coming off pain pills,
Hmm.
and it was just awful. It was, I mean, I'm glad he succeeded, but
Yeah.
uh,
So I could have been someone who had a lifelong drug problem. By the grace of God, somehow I'm not. And I thank God every day for that. So
yeah,
that was um, so I had the brain surgery, but before that I got married. So I'm going to rewind a little bit. So I wanted to wait 6 months after I got married to have the surgery because, that's brain surgery is a big surgery. So rewind, that was in April, rewind back to September in 2007. The brain surgery was in 2008. Let's back up about 6 months. So before my wedding, I'm like, I want to drop a few pounds, right? And this thing back in the 2000s was going on, and you all probably heard of it, called Atkins.
you think?
And I wasn't real heavy, but everyone wants to look good in their wedding dress, right? So I'm like, I just want to drop a few. And so I did the Atkins thing, and I lost 30 pounds, and I looked really good in my wedding dress. But then we were going on a 2-week cruise in the Caribbean. I'm like, oh, well, you're going on a cruise, you got to eat all the food, right? So I'm just going to take a break. I'm going to take a break from the Atkins and go on this cruise and enjoy. Let me tell you, I went on this cruise and we were doing the buffets on the cruise, and they had brownies, and you could take a plate of brownies up to your room. And we were every night, every night we were taking plates of brownies up to our room on the cruise. My clothes, and we went for 2 weeks. We didn't just go for 1 week. My clothes that I took in the suitcase didn't fit me when I got off the cruise. So I was 175 pounds on my wedding day. I think I inched up to 200 pounds when I got
Wow.
back from the cruise. And do you think I went back on the Atkins when I got home? No.
No, those
I, I,
brownies
I
were still calling your name. That's why.
yes. So I gained 20 to 30 pounds in 2 weeks on my honeymoon.
Mm,
So this is when it all started. And then I got off all those narcotics. And the reason why I wanted to say that was because when you are coming off of something like that, and I don't want to say I had an addiction problem because when they told me to get off those drugs, I got off those drugs. But your body, all I can say is your body has a response.
mhm.
And then I can't prove this, but I think I needed to replace that with something else. And I think the something else was food.
Well,
I
there were
can't,
definitely withdrawal symptoms. That
yeah, there
there was
was.
no doubt. Real quick, let
So,
me flip through this chat. Sean, thank you so much. And
ooh,
James, yes, I can't tell him how much I appreciate. Troy said, I wonder if Amy was one of the people from the audience that spoke during the KPL speaker presentations. And we already responded. Yes, she got up.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I think it was
Yep.
after Maria Emmerich spoke.
Maria Emmerich, yep.
Yep, yep, that's what I thought. Nan Catlin is here. And Dustin said, yes, Charlie, I have them all. I still need to put them out. Those were Dustin, I think those were the comments on Sunday. Um, yeah, if you got them or during the speakers, that's great. Get them out so I can see them. I was there, but I didn't record them. Evan says, hello, hello, hello. Yes, Charlie, I said. Hello, Nan. Okay, I think I did run into her briefly at KPL then. That was Charlie. Yeah, and then everybody else saying hello. Sherry Watkins is here. She said, hi, Cindy. So glad I'm catching your live. and saying hi to everyone and the rest of Cindy's fans. I don't have fans. And everybody else is saying hello. Charlie said, I'm not even going to guess how to spell that, but I did it for him right there.
Trigeminal neuralgia. It took me a
Yep.
long time to be able to say it.
Yep. And Evelyn's saying hello. I remember commercials for Lyrica.
Lyrica.
Dustin, or yeah, Dustin said. And there's that link I put on there. Jeff said,
Thank you.
wow. Yes. Sean said, I was put on Lyrica for my neuropathy in my feet. It was one of the worst medicines I was on. I would pass out at my desk at work. Yep. And Dustin says, pharmaceuticals are terrifying. There are some that really do help people, but most are just throwing pills at the wall to see what might help. It's crazy. All pills have side effects, but you need more pills to fight the side effects. That's why I fight my doctors daily when I have to, because I don't want to take anything. Evelyn says, soon I'll be listening while making a pumpkin pie. Hope you're coming to AMO Friendsgiving tomorrow, Amy.
I cannot make it, but I'm going to try to make the one in May.
Good. Lisa's working on her dish. I got to do mine in the morning, get it out of the oven, and get on the road. Can't wait to see you at AMO. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Eric, Rick, AMO is a city in Indiana where we're going to do a meetup tomorrow. Actually, Dustin, Jackie, and Jennifer Lucas all organize this meetup twice a year. James says he spoke too. Yes, he did on Sunday. AMO is a town in Indiana. What? I'm your biggest fan. You're sweet. Sweet, sweet. This is Karen from Low Carb Spin. I don't know if you met them. They were at KPL, her and her sister Therese.
Hi, Karen.
They are good. Beautiful blue dress, and Amy were in our other group.
Yep. Hi, James.
Your fans, most certainly. You are our hero. Hello, Karen. Low Carb Spin. Karen's hello, everyone. And Rick is thanking me, and I'm going to again post, not that. Don't want to post that again. Dustin, can you please post, if you got a second, Amy's channel again? All right, Amy, I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
Go
Gives
right
me a
ahead.
chance to collect my thoughts. So once I got off those medications, you know, and I felt better. I mean, I felt great. Things were going well, but my weight just, I mean, I'm like, oh, I'm going to get under 200 pounds, right? I'm going to get under 200, but it just kept going up, 220, 230. And then I just didn't care. I was happily married. Life was good. I'm like, I'm just not stepping on that scale. I believe I got up somewhere near 260 pounds. I believe that was my heaviest.
Wow.
Yeah. So what happened? I mean, I got really big. For me, that's big. I know there's a lot of people who put on more weight, but what happened for me next was, well, there were other health issues, but the ones that I want to talk about mainly, one day in 2012, I woke up out of bed with severe hip pain. Just woke up out of bed for no reason. And I'm like, man, my hip hurts. I was sleeping, nothing happened. I didn't have a fall, and nothing triggered it. And I was about 35 years old. 35 years old. And I lived with it for a while, right? And I'm like, what is going on with my hip, my left hip? So finally, I went to see a hip specialist, and they x-rayed me, and they're like, we're going to need to send you into an MRI machine. So they MRI'd me, and they're like, you have a left labral tear in your hip. And he's like, we can do surgery. That's really about all we can do for that. And I'm like, sure, fine, let's do the surgery because I'm kind of miserable. So he went in, he sewed up the tear, It's like 4 to 6 weeks on crutches. And, when you're over, and I live in a tri-level, there's lots of stairs in here. When you're 260 pounds, and you can't do the little scooter thing. Everyone's like, why didn't you get one of those little knee scooters? It's no weight bearing. Your knee is below your hip. So it has to be crutches or a wheelchair. And a wheelchair doesn't work in a trail level. So I'm like, man, when you're 260 pounds, and my arms, look at them. I don't have much muscles here to be pushing around a 260-pound girl. So I struggled to be going up and down the stairs, and we don't have a main floor bathroom in this house. So you either have to go up the stairs to go to the bathroom or go down the stairs to go to the bathroom. So it was a struggle. But do you think that I learned my lesson after that surgery and tried to fix my health? No. I said, "Oh, I'm gonna lose some weight. I'm gonna do better." But no, did I? I took it for granted. I didn't do anything. I'm like, tomorrow, next week, next month. Because I was still happy. I was fine. They fixed me. They just cut me open and fixed me. It's fine. So that went on for what, 5 years? I was fine. Then in 20, well, I tried some things. I tried some protein shakes. Like I would buy protein shakes and I would try to drink those, right? I would go and get Pure Protein, I think was the brand from Sam's Club, and I would mix them with, I don't know, milk or almond milk, and I'd drink those. But then I'd go to the gym and I would do like 2,000 calorie workouts because my Fitbit would tell me that I worked out for 2 hours. But then I'd come home and eat 3,000 calories worth of nachos because I'd be like, my logic was, well, if I work out hard, I can eat whatever I want, right? But I just kept gaining more weight. So that never worked. So I did try a little bit, but what I was doing wasn't really working. So fast forward then to 2018. So 2018, I went out in the yard to change a hummingbird feeder, and I walked my face flat into a spider web. And I think Dustin has seen a video on this. There's a video out there, but I walked into a spider web, and it really messed me up because I'm a little bit blind and I didn't see the spider web, and I flipped around and I fell into my yard. Well, when that happened, I tore my labrum in my left hip again. Same hip. So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna give it a little bit, see, if it heals up, whatever. So I went back to the same surgeon and he did an MRI and he's like, yeah, you really did it. So really our only option is to go in and do more surgery.
Wow.
So at this time in 2018, all of your notes, like your medical notes, are posted online, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I went home and I pulled these notes up. And in the notes, it said, we talked extensively about weight loss. And I lost it. I started bawling. I'm like, he never said one word about me losing weight. He never said I needed to lose weight. And I started crying. I lost it. I'm like, why did he put that in my notes when he never said anything?
They
And I
think
think,
they can get away with anything.
well, and I think
That's the sad part.
I think for insurance purposes too, he probably had to. I think in order to do surgery, they have to say that they talked to you about this, that, and the other in order to get the insurance to pay for stuff. I don't think it was his fault. But I sat there, Cindy, and I had a mental breakdown. I'm like, he never talked to me about this. Why didn't he talk to me about this? And I lost it there, and I'm like, that's it. That's it. I know what works. The Atkins diet worked for me before my wedding. This is what I got to do. So I went back and saw him for my follow-up. I said, look, I want to do the surgery, but you got to give me 6 months because if I go on crutches again at this way, I'm going to blow my armpits out and then you're going to have to do armpit surgery on me.
Yeah, we don't want that.
So I'm like, let's give me 6 months to get my act together. I didn't tell him I read his note. I didn't tell him I had a mental breakdown. I just said, give me 6 months to try to lose a few pounds so that to make the surgery process a little easier. And that was October 2018. And I got to it right away. That month, I call October my ketoversary. And I love that KPL is in October because that's my ketoversary. And I got to it. Now, the sad part is when I started this, I was still doing what I remembered from 2000 and I want to say 7. So I was
Mhm.
just eating a grilled piece of meat and a vegetable. So I would eat a lot of grilled chicken and like steamed broccoli or like just a piece of meat and broccoli. And at one point I told my sister Janine who'd been doing keto for a while and I didn't really realize it. I said, Janine, if I eat one more piece of grilled chicken and steamed broccoli, I'm going to jump off a cliff. I'm like, I just don't know that I can continue down this path. It's so bland. And she goes, okay, I got some stuff for you. And my phone blew up. Like she just started
Wow.
sending me, she sent me Maria Emmerich. She sent me Carolyn Ketchum. She sent me sugarfreemom.com. I started getting Dr. Barry's video. So when I started real keto, I got the good stuff right away. Like
Mhm.
I started off in the right place right away, and I lost 10 pounds a month. October, I lost 10 pounds. November, I lost 10 pounds. Every month, 10 pounds. So by the time I went back to the surgeon, I think in April or May, I had lost 60 pounds. 6 months, 60 pounds.
Wow.
And I'm like, I'm ready to do this. I'm like, 60 pounds is enough. So I was down like I when I started I was at 240, but I think I'd lost like 20 pounds on those protein shakes. So I went from 260 to 240, and I was down to like 175 or 180 by surgery time.
Nice.
So we did the surgery, and I was on the crutches, and I started going to physical therapy. I got off the crutches and started my physical therapy. And labral tears in your hip aren't like hip replacements. Like hip replacements, you're walking same day. Labral tears, you're on crutches for like 4 to 6 weeks, no weight bearing. Then you go into physical therapy. 7 weeks post surgery, I'm standing in my kitchen chopping a salad. Chopping a salad. I take a step and my hip popped and I about went to the floor. And I was like, what the is that? Like, what just happened? And I was in so much pain. And I went to my next physical therapy session. I'm like, I don't think I can do therapy. I'm in so much pain. My hip popped, chopping a salad. And he's like, you need to call the doctor immediately and go back. So I called the doctor. I'm like, something's wrong with my hip. It's unstable. It hurts. I can barely walk. So they did an MRI, and he's like, there's nothing more I can do for you. That was
Holy
the end of
cow.
that.
Whoa.
So my surgery failed. Second surgery failed. He said, but I know a guy. I know a guy in Chicago. You're going to have to go to Chicago. He's at Rush Medical. I want you to go see him. But I can't do any more for you here. So he sent me to Dr. Shane No at Rush Medical in Chicago. This guy's world renowned for hips. He travels all over the country. And of course, this is all when COVID's going on and everything else. So we were traveling back and forth to Chicago, and Doctor knows like I can fix you. Didn't have one inkling that he couldn't help me. This
Mhm.
guy's amazing. So during 2019 and 2020 was a rough time. I was on crutches almost the whole time. Um,
Wow.
during this time too, like the time I wasn't on crutches, I'm trying to do keto, right? I can't cook in the kitchen because when you're like this and you can't really do your arms because you're on crutches. So I would prepare meals for 3 months. We have a deep freezer. I would make a big batch of soup. I would make like Maria Emmerich's protein noodle lasagna, and I would make as much as I could, individual, put it in the freezer. Oh, what else did I do? Um, Taco pie. I love this recipe called taco pie, and I would individual that. That way I could just nuke something. So during this time, I'm on crutches. My husband comes to me and he's like, "Boy, you're looking really good, honey. I think I want to go on this diet that you're on." I'm like, "No, you're not." I said, I was like a squirrel. I'm like, I have squirreled away all this food that I've cooked, enough just for me. I'm like,
That's good.
you're not gonna dig in the deep freezer and steal my nuts, my squirreled away food. I'm like, can you at least wait until I get off crutches again, please, to where I can start cooking? So during all that, he decided he wanted to start keto right in the middle of me being on crutches and I couldn't cook. So,
Did you tell
because
him he had
I'm,
to start cooking then?
yeah, well, and he can cook, but he just didn't know how to cook keto. So he was going to go into the deep freezer and steal my already prepared stuff. And I was like, oh, no, you're not. So that was going on. Um, so after my third surgery in November of 2019, that took me into 2020. I was on crutches, I think, until January 2020. I mean, we're talking April of 2019 all the way to January. That was a rough time. I was really out of commission, but I'd lost a lot of weight. I think I was down 80 pounds at this point.
Wow.
And I still had hip pain, but I found, of course, I wasn't taking narcotics. We learned that lesson. And I did get some steroid shots that seemed to help, or
Mhm.
steroids. They would put me on steroids to help the inflammation in my hip. But I noticed something. The cleaner keto that I ate, like if I stayed away from, I don't know, the cleaner that I ate, the better that my hip felt. So that was one thing. The other thing that I noticed through all this is I had high blood pressure. That was one of the things that I had. That
Mhm.
reversed. The asthma and allergies that I've had since I was a little kid. Like I have a rescue inhaler somewhere around here that I never use anymore. Um, that reversed. Um, I'm off the depression meds that they put on me from the trigeminal neuralgia. And I also was diagnosed with sleep apnea. And that I think is much better. So those are the things that I noticed. So now I did stall after the 80 pounds. So I stalled for 2 years, but my body was healing.
Mhm.
So, that's a lot of surgeries. Two surgeries in 6 months. That's a lot of surgery. So I think my body was just trying to heal. And the other weird thing that happened to me during those surgeries is I had a meat aversion. Like I developed a meat aversion, and I think it was the anesthesia.
Hmm.
So I'm like, man, hamburger and steak doesn't sound good. Neither does chicken. I literally ate eggs and bacon every day during 2019 and I lost 60 pounds because I would try to eat the meat because I'm like, I know I like this. Why does it taste funny? I think the anesthesia just really messed me up during that time.
Could be.
But
Or whatever, if you were on any medications, it could have altered your taste buds for a bit too.
yeah, because I didn't like cilantro during that time and I had just bought a ton of salad dressing with cilantro in it.
Mm.
And I couldn't eat that either. And then I'm fine now, so I got over that. But um, so then in 2021, I'm like, okay, I have a few more pounds I want to just lose. I've stalled for 2 years. And then Maria Emmerich, and this is controversial, so I don't know. Some people don't agree with this, some people agree with this, but I just I'm like, the thinner I am, the better my hip feels, right? For me personally, I have
Mhm.
orthopedic issues. So I wanted to try to get a few more pounds off of my body for my hip. So Mariamic has protein sparing modified fasting. I felt like my body needed to mix it up a little bit.
Mhm.
So I used her macro calculator. I tried her protein sparing cookbook, and I lost an additional 30 pounds. And that's where I'm at today. I have been maintaining for a year. I'm at my goal weight. Um, and I know some people agree with that, some people don't, but it's worked for me. And I feel good. I also do some intermittent fasting too. Maybe one day a week, 1 or 2 days a week, not every
Mhm.
day. And
That's
it works
that's
for
what this
me.
is all about, Amy, is finding what works for you.
Mhm. And I
Because
agree.
no two people are the same. Everybody reacts differently to everything. Every food, every situation in life, everything. So yeah, I mean, you found what worked for you. Everybody needs to mix it up once in a while because your body gets so used to what you're doing that you do stall out and you just stagnant.
Mhm.
You gotta, that's why there's so many people out there that are doing that will do a chat that will challenge themselves for a month or so and then go
Mhm.
and then challenge for a month or so.
Yep.
But it's exactly why. Charlie has a question. What was your impression of KPL?
It was life changing. Obviously, personally, I've hit goal like I've been doing what I've been doing for 6 years now, and it's worked for me. But I never had that. I've been trying to build a community here, right? But I needed that. I needed that community, and it was like, oh my gosh, this is the community that I've been craving. There was something that I needed, and that was KPL for me. And it was just like it was a family. I have a family, like I have a real family, but this is like a family of just another family, right? And it's really a family, like for real. Like so many people came up to me and hugged me like they have known me forever. And
Mhm.
like I feel like Cindy and I are gonna be friends for life now. Like there's nothing breaking that now.
No.
And I made so many friends there like that.
And that's where Autumn and Richard and Autumn's family, they do such a fantastic job. And that's why they say it's like a big family reunion when you go there. It's so regimented and so personable as opposed to these big events where there's too much going on,
Yeah.
you know? I mean, there's a lot that goes on in that weekend and it goes
Hmm.
too quick,
It does.
but it's also packed full of fun also. So, this is my husband Brian saying hi and everybody saying hi to him. This is my sister Deb who got home safely. She has was out and about and everybody's saying hi. This is Stephanie. Exposing Darkness. Steph, are you going to be there in AMO tomorrow? Da, 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 da. Everybody's just saying hi, hi, hi. Dustin and I both posted your link.
Thank you.
And Dustin said that video is hilarious when you
Yeah,
walked into the spot.
so full
And he posted
disclosure.
a link for that.
Yeah, of course he did. So what happened was we had just bought security cameras on our house like that week, right? This was
Mhm.
2018. We just bought a new security Arlo system. And of course it recorded me going out the door and falling in the yard. And my boss at the time's like, "Well, upload that to YouTube so we can share it in the office." So I did. And I made it public. And it's to date, it has over 100,000 hits on it. I can't monetize it because it's I only have like 30 videos on that channel. But seriously, it's like if you search for walking in a spider web, I'm number 3 behind Gwen Stefani for that video of me messing up my hip. It's funny.
Oh,
My sister
wow.
watches it. My sister watches it daily just because she needs a good laugh. So it's okay to
Oh,
laugh.
no.
You're fine.
Yeah,
I
no.
give you permission to laugh at me. It's fine. I'm good now.
So I let him know I'd be getting back in the chat. Dustin
Yeah.
said, no worries. She's got an important story to tell.
Right.
Everyone knows that hips don't lie.
Shakira, Shakira.
And Dustin said, make him cook, your husband.
Make him cook. Yeah, no, I'd rather cook. It tastes better.
What man can't grill a steak or burgers?
He can.
Yep. And Sean's agreeing. See, I told you hips don't lie. I need to check out the macro calculator for
Calculator.
science. Karen wants to know how many days a week did you do PSMF?
I actually, so when I was trying to lose, I did it. I do like my own science experiment, okay? So I figure out, am I losing at 2? Am I losing at 3? So I would do 2 or 3. Some weeks I would alternate it until I get to goal weight. And right now, so the way I do this, I have my own thing going on. I do
Mhm.
1 day a week, I fast. And unfortunately, it has happened to line up with Chris Cooking Nashville's cooking day. And I'm like, I got to switch to this because I'm fasting on the wrong day. But I eat a full plate of protein and it's lean. If you research protein sparing and her recipes, you'll figure this out. A full plate of protein, and I do my own thing. I do OMAD. So I eat one meal a day and it's all protein. It's almost like a carnivore meal. And I eat about 2 or 3 p.m. And I eat the whole plate, even past stuffed, because I'm like, man, this is the only meal I'm getting today, right? And so I eat the whole thing, and um, then I go till the next day, and it's usually just 1 day a week. And I'm telling you, just by doing that, I have stayed at like between 150 and 153 pounds for the whole year. And then the other days, I eat when I want. I eat what I want on the keto menu, keto
That's awesome.
carnivore. But it's kind of
Maintenance
my own thing.
is tough.
Hmm.
I have maintained 100-pound loss for 2 years. It's
It's
and
tough.
I still
I,
have more to lose. It's tough. Rick says you
thank
have an
you.
amazing story,
Thank you, Rick. You have an amazing story.
and Sean is sending loves. Amy sent or James is sending hugs.
Hi, James.
Charlie just
Thank
subscribed,
you.
as did Rick.
Thank you.
And Debbie said maybe submit that video to Funniest Home Videos.
I thought about that, but then when you submit your video, you no longer own it. So they take the video away from you and you have to take it down from everywhere. So I thought about
That's
doing
wrong.
that. Yeah, and if you win, you get 10 grand. And I'm like, that's not a lot of money, Dennis. She's like, so 10 grand is 10 grand. And I'm like, oh, but then it's not my video and I can't show it to anybody anymore.
Wow.
So I don't know. I like it being mine and me and I own it and I know I'm not making
Yeah.
anything off of it, but I don't know.
Eventually, you might.
Maybe, right?
Never know. Never know. Yeah,
I
never
don't know.
know. So, what would you, if somebody came to you and wanted help, what would you tell them?
What would I tell them?
Mhm.
Well, people come to me all the time for help.
Mhm.
I have spent the last couple weekends on the phone for hours with people. And the first thing I try to do is I've learned to have to do this, and it's hard to do, is just listen. You have to listen to them. Because when I first started this, I wanted to cram this lifestyle down everyone's throats. And I've learned you can't. You, you can't do that. So I've had to learn to be a good listener and just, you know, and then I came up, if some people are in, I have a Facebook group, and I devised this little
Mhm.
thing. And I'm like, look, I have this, it's called Amy's Plan, and I kind of shared this from somebody else where it says no pasta, no rice, no corn, and the things you got to eliminate from your diet, right?
Mhm.
And then I'm like, okay, you need to go through your cupboards and eliminate these things. And it's the usual things that all of us in the space know. And then I say, you need a good electrolyte. And Up until now, I have tried not to recommend one because I have never recommended products on my thing, but I think we all know who we all recommend in this space now because we love our salty and our keto chow because it's clean.
I
So I'm
do.
good.
I
Yes. So I tell them to get a good electrolyte. But actually, I've always done keto chow, and I've always said the unflavored keto chow is the one that I use because I fast, so I don't use the flavor.
Mhm.
And that was before salty even came out. And I had never bought flavored electrolytes until I would say the last couple months anyway. Um, and then um, and then I just, basically say no seed oils. Seed oils is a big one. No
Mhm.
seed oils. And then finally the other thing that I do is I said when you're starting out, you may need to track your foods in the beginning
Mhm.
to when you're getting started. Eventually you're going to figure out, and I said you may want to, if you're track how you're eating now, just standard American diet. See what you're
Yep.
at for a week. Then try to bring it down, if you're at 300 carbs, try to bring it down to 100. Then try to bring it down to 50. Then eventually try to get it down under 20. 20 to
Mhm.
30 maybe is a good goal. And if you stop losing weight and you're not at your goal, maybe you need to go to under 10. Maybe you need to go carnivore for a while. Um, but I said let's get, under 35 or 20 first,
Now, do you
you know.
recommend total or net carbs?
Total always.
Yes.
Total.
Yes.
Because net
There's.
carbs is a gimmick, and I always give them a couple things I always give them is Dr. Barry's 101 playlist. I share to all my new people who ask me questions, and I always give them Dr. Barry's guidebook. If you've ever seen that floating around,
Yep.
I always give them the guidebook because Dr. Barry's guidebook tells you what foods you can eat right in there.
Hmm.
And
Yep.
sometimes I've accidentally eaten things that says it's a no-no in there. I mean, nobody's perfect,
No. Nope.
you
Not at
know.
all. And nobody should. Nobody should claim
Yeah.
that they are because
No, right.
it's not going to happen.
Mm-mm,
Charlie, so
right.
what's the most common reaction from folks when they learn how differently you eat?
Um, well, sometimes sometimes they think I eat weird, but honestly, when they see my before pictures and my like what I look like now, they're a lot of times a shock. Like, no way. Like, um, like sometimes it's just that's amazing, you know? That because I just show them what I used to look like, and they're like, whoa. Um, But a lot of times anymore, I don't eat a lot when I go out. And my reason is, um, I have a lot of bad reactions. I even had a reaction at KPL. So if I eat anything with gluten in it, my eczema flares up. Um, if it's bad enough, I can't walk.
Oh no.
So if there's enough gluten or something bad enough in it, I can't walk for like a week. I will feel it in my hip. So I
Wow.
really have to be careful where and what I eat. Not everybody I'm sure not everybody has the reaction that I have, but I've been gluten free for 6 years now. And one of the symptoms that I get is joint pain, like severe joint pain.
Hmm.
So I went I went to my high school reunion in July, right? And we had a taco truck. And I brought my own egg life wraps in my purse. And I had taco meat in my taco shells.
Hmm.
And then I couldn't walk for 5 days. I couldn't even get up and down my stairs. I'm like, there was something in that taco meat. And then at KPL, it said gluten free. I don't want to pick on them, but I had eczema, something I ate,
You
and
can pick on the food. It wasn't the best.
something I ate at KPL had gluten in it because I had eczema when I got home, only for a few days. And I'm trying to think, we didn't eat out. We ate only the KPL food, and we brought cheese and meat in our cooler.
Hmm.
And then we skipped some meals because we went and saw Jelly Roll. So, um,
So Debbie, back to the funniest home video. She said it's 20,000 now with a possibility of 100,000. Karen says, can't you make a new video and tell a story with it so it can be on your monetized channel?
I asked Dustin about that, but um, he said it didn't really go along with keto stuff. So I was wondering if I could. Well, my new channel is not monetized yet. Someone's got to give me some insight to that, how long it takes to get monetized.
It takes a bit. It's
But yeah,
it
that
takes a
was
bit.
my goal. I'm like,
I'm
how do
close.
I make this keto so
I'm
that I can?
close. I'm close.
How
But
do I make this?
that's why my channel is just my name. So I'm not stuck on what I can put in there.
Mm-hmm.
I can put anything on here that I care to. And I had actually asked Steve from Serious Keto, okay,
Mm-hmm.
some advice. As he's got a good following. He said 3 things. Don't back yourself in a corner
Mm-hmm.
like I did. Like he said, like I did, my name in my channel, Serious Keto. Secure your website so nobody can take it.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was another one I honestly can't remember. But it was the best advice because I was thinking about changing from my name to something else. And I'm like, no, I'm just going to leave it. That way I can put whatever the heck I want on here.
That's a good idea.
And it didn't matter. James just
Just,
saw the spider
yeah,
web video.
you laughed, didn't you? It's okay. I laughed too.
Dustin is a fan of unflavored electrolytes.
I like the flavored ones now. Net carbs was hard
Net
to come off
carbs
of,
was hard
yeah.
to come off. It was in 2016, but I still look at net carbs for veggies and such.
Yeah, veggies are probably okay. As Dr. Berry says, broccoli's probably not going to lie to you. Broccoli will not lie to you, but a package with a label is going to lie to you.
Right. I think the easiest way for someone to drop carbs is to try an egg fast.
I've never tried that.
I did. Oh, I love them. I think I'm going to do another one starting Sunday after I get
Although,
past the meetup.
although
But
all, oh, sorry.
no, you're good. The problem with that I find with an egg fast is you cannot get enough protein in. So if I do another egg fast, I am still going to keep keto chow in the mix to get the added protein or
Mhm.
equip shakes or something because I have both in the house. To get monetized, you need 1,000 subs and 4,000 watch hours. That's what that's for.
Yep. Does
I am
2019 count as a egg fast for me since all I ate during 2019 was eggs?
and
Except for
bacon,
the bacon. The
eggs and
bacon.
bacon. You could do an egg and bacon fast. So yeah,
I have my own thing. It's called egg and bacon fast.
that's right. I'll take Wendy from Loving It on Keto. She's got some great videos out there. She has back from 2019, she started her channel. She's done a 30-day egg fast.
Whoa,
She did a 30-day bacon fast. Just bacon, a pound and a half of bacon a day.
that's what I'm talking
Then
about.
she did a bacon and egg fast. I mean, it
Mm.
was like 30 days of each thing. And I mean, she did them so strictly. It was wild. And Karen says, yes, not enough protein, but if you're coming from SAD diet, it's the easiest way to have under 10 carbs.
Mm-hmm.
I would much rather put meat on my plate
Mm-hmm.
to get under 10 carbs than to do eggs all day. I love eggs. I never got tired of them. I
Mm-hmm.
did a 7-day, very strict, just eggs. That was great. Benazati recommends 14 eggs per day, cooked in ghee as an egg fast in a 6-hour window. I could do that. That's a lot. That's a lot of eggs, but I could probably do that. But even that, see, what is? I'm a look. I'm gonna
I eat
look it
about
up.
6 or 7 a day. And
I seriously could probably do that.
I buy a case of, well, I should get farm fresh eggs, don't judge. But
Hey, I get what I can afford.
I have a dealer who drops off farm fresh eggs to me for free, but I buy a case of 70 at Sam's because I eat so many eggs. Like I can't afford, you got to get what you can afford, but I buy a case of 70 eggs every time I go to Sam's.
I get probably 60
Mhm.
or whatever. Like we just went to Costco and we got three,
Mhm.
2 dozen. So we got 6 dozen altogether. So I just looked on my Fitness Pal, which I use. I don't use Chronometer. And I don't care what anybody says. I don't use Carb Manager. I've used my Fitness Pal for tracking everything.
Mhm.
2 eggs is only 12 grams of protein. So, Debbie, you said 14 eggs.
Mhm.
So, 7 times that. It's still not enough protein. It's 84 grams of protein. It's still really not enough.
Mhm.
So, you know, Benazotti, it's okay. That Benazotti egg fast is weird. Why he's against fried eggs. Fried eggs and butter are amazing. My Mennonite neighbor store has 2.49 a dozen. So
Hmm.
we
That's
got the
not
two
bad.
dozen at Costco for 4.89. So it wasn't bad. Cheaper than that actually by about 8 cents. My go-to is a very soft scramble, but I do enjoy fried eggs. If I'm eating 14 a day, I'd need to mix it up.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, well, if he's not talking, if Azadi is just talking eggs and ghee and not making an egg loaf and adding in cheese and well, he is adding in the ghee or the butter, whatever. But an egg loaf is amazing, and it breaks up the monotony. It's like if you use 8 eggs, it's 8 ounces of cream cheese and 8 tablespoons of
Yum.
butter. So good. Amy hasn't eaten yet.
No.
This time I did. I had a ribeye for dinner.
Probably because I don't know what I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna have to dig in the deep freezer. I had chili that I'd prepared a while back last night. It was so good.
Or eggs.
I had, oh yeah, I haven't had eggs today. Ooh, and you know what I like to do to my eggs?
Tell me.
So I mix it up. So some days I put like white queso on them and sour cream,
Mhm.
and you just top it with whatever. And then some days I have pizza sauce. So I'll take it and I'll put pizza sauce and pepperoni on top of them. With some black olives or onions or something. So I make pizza eggs. Like you can make eggs
Interesting.
anything. Like I just love eggs so much. You make eggs into anything. Like I just love them.
Oh yeah. This is just eggs and ghee. Well, ghee is just clarified butter. It's a temp thing that will jumpstart or start or stop a stall. When I did my egg fast, Deb, even with the egg loaf and however I did with the cheese and everything, 'cause you're allowed so many ounces of cheese a day on a real egg fast. And as soon as you get off of it, you might have broken that stall. Like when
Hmm.
I did the 7 day and I think I lost like 6 pounds or 5.8 pounds. However, once you go back to eating your regular diet or your regular way of eating, those 6 pounds come back,
Hmm.
unless you're sticking that with that low protein but once you start adding on the protein, even it's going to pack on some pounds. I don't care. I have a bread recipe using just the yolks after I've used the whites for a PSMF day.
PSMF day. Yep. So you've
Well,
done
do tell,
PSMF
Evelyn,
too.
do tell. I'm always in for new bread recipes. Ask Karen. I didn't make the brown bread. They have low carb spin has got a great recipes for bread. Great channel for recipes. They have one for rye bread. If you like,
Really?
oh my goodness, it's so good. Sourdough,
I got to check that out.
a brown bread. Yeah. Yeah, they have some good ones. the rye bread is probably my favorite of their bread recipes.
Yum, I gotta try that.
It's good. Just go to their channel. It's like, woo, it's amazing. Yeah, I've made it. That's one thing I will not, if I make somebody else's recipe, which is mostly what I'm doing, other than having Chat GPT create my recipes for me because I'm not that creative. And I always put them in the comments. Whoever I mention in my videos is
Yeah,
mentioned is tagged in the comments because
me
I'm not
too.
going to take credit. I'm not going to give out their amounts. Go see them. It's like Wes says, give them the traffic, give them the credit. Go watch their video on their channel to know what ingredients and how much. Wes from Highfalutin Low Carb. He's another one. If you don't watch him, Amy, woo, he's funny.
So I've actually been making other people's recipes, but I've gotten permission from them to do so.
Hmm.
And I post links back to their web pages. So before I
Right.
do it, I've gotten permission. Like Maria Emmerich has given me
Mhm.
permission as long as it's not in one of her cookbooks and it's on her website. Keto Dad has given me permission. Carolyn Ketchum has given me permission as long as I
She's,
link back to their website.
that woman has a serious sweet tooth.
Which one? Carolyn or
Carolyn.
Marie?
Carolyn.
Yeah. I don't I don't
I
eat a
love
ton of
her
sweets.
recipes.
I don't eat a ton of sweets. They're more of a once in a while. Now, the reason why I make her recipes is not for me. It's for the other person that I live with that I'm not going to mention. He has a terrible sweet tooth. But I've tried to wean myself off of all of that stuff, but or for holidays I make stuff,
Hmm.
because I like to have a piece of whatever on the holidays. Yeah, you start to lose muscle if you don't get enough protein.
Yeah. I
That's
wouldn't
my
worry about getting
problem.
permission
Look,
provided you're giving them credit. Yeah,
yeah,
there is no, you can't do a copyright thing for a recipe. You can't get in trouble for copyright if you're using somebody else's recipe. And there
yeah.
are people that believe that you can
Mhm.
and you can't.
It's still more of a courtesy thing for me,
Right.
especially because I have you know, I feel like I have a relationship with Maria. She shared my story on her page.
Right.
We've talked before, and I'm like, hey, would you mind, for people that I know. Um, I'm less affiliated with Keto Dad, but it was still more of a courtesy thing. I
Hmm.
don't want to make anybody mad, even though I know it's not copyrighted.
Right.
I still want to honor their wishes because it's just the right thing to do, I feel like.
Yeah. Well, it's like Dustin said. I mean, it's a good thing to make sure people get credit.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
But I don't do, anybody that has not seen my videos, I don't typically do a cooking video. I'll tell what I'm making and then I stop it. And I might show it after I get it together and then I stop it. And then it's like, then I'll show the end result and then my plate of food. It's like, I don't keep the camera rolling because I'm not, it was being at Chris and Ash's last weekend. I'm telling you, it was definitely an experience and it was a lot of fun. Behind the scenes, watching them record was interesting. It was fascinating. Ash is absolutely fantastic at what she does. But there's two of them.
Yeah.
There's me. My husband does not hold the camera for me. He doesn't, I have a little tripod. I don't have a little induction oven thingy that, I have my stove and I'm good with that. And I only use my phone as much as I think you're the one that said, get your camera out.
Yeah, I'm a little jealous. I'm gonna be harassing you about that. I'm like, have you got that camera out yet?
Nope. Nope. Yeah, cooking videos are a pain to record unless you have somebody else there, like Wendy has Harry. on
Mhm.
Loving It on Keto. Harry is a master at editing. He's just, that's what he does. He's fun. He can
So
say
he,
hi.
oh, he's getting a sweet out of the cabinet. I'm in the kitchen. He's tiptoeing in here. Oh, so I do all my live. Well, for the last year, I've been doing mine live with people like people watching them and commenting. So I'm cooking, I'm recording myself, I'm cooking and responding to questions while I'm
Mhm,
cooking. They always haven't gone well, but that's okay because that's fun too because we've laughed together. And I've
mhm.
had some fails because I'm testing recipes out in my lives, right? But it's been fun over the last year doing that. Um, so the ones I'm uploading now are old ones. They're ones from the last year.
Karen said they are challenging.
Yes, they are.
And Dustin says to me, if you don't get it or use before the end of the year, you have to donate it to me. Not.
Oh, the camera? Yeah.
I told him he needs to come here and help me with it. Come here. He's been invited here so many times.
If he comes there, the camera's probably going to leave with him.
No, it won't. I will have him frisked before he leaves.
It's funny.
He busts my chops all the time in his
He
live
does.
streams, everything. I have a permanent invitation. Yeah, you just never take me up on it because, oh, it's so far away. Sounds creepy. Chandra has given me permission to knock the crap out of him,
I
his
like
wife.
Chandra.
Yep, she's cool.
She is
Definitely.
cool.
So, Amy, I hope we touched everything. 'Cause I know we broke off a couple times to get with the chat and everything. Was there
Yes, I think we
anything else?
got, no, I think we got most of it. I mean, yeah, that's pretty much the gist of most of like where I'm at and where I've been. And, right now I feel great. No pain, I feel like one day I'm going to have my hip replaced. So every day is like a blessing that I can
Mhm.
walk and I'm not crippled, you know,
And you
because
stay doing what you're doing, you may not ever have to have that.
I may not. I mean, there was one point after that second hip surgery, I couldn't even walk. And I
Mhm.
had a handicap sticker and everything. And I'm like, every day that I have that I can walk is just like amazing. And it's like I can never go back. I just can't. So
Right.
when people and I forget, I think it was in the Two Crazy Ketos uh session the other day, they were like, when people ask you, "Oh, just one bite, just one, you can have just one bite." And I'm like, for some of us, we just can't. Like I would be sick for a week. I wouldn't
Well,
be able to
not only
walk
that,
for a week.
for a lot of us, that one bite would lead to another
Yep.
and another, and
Mhm.
one Reese cup Deb would lead to two, or
Mhm. And it
that's
happened to me on my
long standing.
honeymoon. That happened to a whole new wardrobe. I couldn't even fit into my clothes on the way back.
Right, right. That's what you
So
said.
yeah, no. But
Now you
that's
were
pretty
talking
much it.
about when you were talking about your hip surgery that went bad and had to have a second one. My yes, Jeff, it is a heartwarming story.
Thank you.
When I had my second knee replaced in 2017, it got infected
Oh,
and I had to have two additional surgeries, so three total within 2 months' time, and antibiotics for 9 months. It was crazy,
so you know
but
with
I
like
have
that
told I
repeated,
yep.
yeah.
They at one point um, I couldn't bend my leg, so she immobilized it. Put the thing on there, so I had to keep it straight because I had a spot probably smaller than the size of a dime, but it wouldn't close up. I had a wound vac for a while.
Mm.
It was nuts. So I totally get it. It's the most horrifying experience. Having a knee replacement is enough, but when it gets infected and you have to go in for another surgery and then another one because it still wouldn't heal,
Mm.
it was like the only recourse if that had third one hadn't taken was to have another total knee replacement on that same knee. And I'm like, oh, please no. He's just worked this time because it's tough. It's tough. But I am so glad you're doing well. You look fantastic, by the
Thank
way.
you. I feel great. I mean, really, this lifestyle just has fixed so many. Well, and just one last thing to add, well, one other thing I wanted to touch on the sleep apnea. The sleep apnea, when I was diagnosed and had my sleep apnea test, this is when I was really heavy. They woke me up. It was supposed to be a 2-night study. This was in like 2011. They let me sleep for 1 hour and they woke me up and they were like, we can't even let you sleep. It's a liability. Because I stopped breathing 70 times per minute.
Wow.
My sleep apnea was so severe, I stopped breathing 70 times per minute. When I got diagnosed with my blood pressure at age 36 or 37, I'm 48 now. My blood pressure was 220 over 110. So I had multiple comorbidities or whatever you say. I would never diabetic, probably working my way towards it, but so high blood pressure, sleep apnea, eczema, asthma, joint pain, got off the depression meds. All these things that Dr. Berry talks about, aside from diabetes or pre-diabetes, those are things that I just wanted to lose the weight to have surgery. I wasn't expecting all this other stuff to be reversed. So if there's like one thing that I can say to somebody, this like just give it 90 days, give it 6 months because you're going to be amazed at what's going to happen to you.
All right. I was just diagnosed with mild to severe sleep apnea. Just was. And I'm like waiting to hear from the place to get a stupid CPAP machine.
Mm-hmm.
Brenda Jones says, great story. And Brenda, how is your son doing? Dustin said that's how bad his was.
Yeah.
Sleep apnea was bad.
Yeah.
And, my husband tells me I don't snore. I don't do any of that stuff. I don't, but he does. My husband definitely has it. So we're going to be a dual CPAP wearing family. Yeah. I told my doctor, I said, if I'm going to die in my sleep, it's okay because that's how I want to go. I don't.
Right.
I don't want to be suffering or anything. So if I stop breathing in my sleep, it's okay. But it's crazy. They just look at me like I'm nuts. But
Thank you. Thank you, Brenda.
yes. So I am not going to keep you any longer. You need to
Okay.
go eat.
I need to eat.
Yes. And
Yum.
Brenda messaged me and let me know how your son is doing. Her son had a liver transplant.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And they got
See,
one that
prayers.
was working. Thank goodness. She said he's doing so well. Thanks for all the thoughts and prayers. I am so thankful, Brenda. I've been watching your story on Facebook and how they had a liver for him and then they didn't. And then almost immediately they had one that worked. That's fantastic. Thanks so much for sharing your story, Amy. Glad to hear how amazing you're doing. And you are so welcome, Karen. Evelyn says, thank you. We will miss you
Yes.
tomorrow,
I'll
Amy.
miss you
Yes.
all too. I'll miss you too.
Rick said, thanks, Amy. Karen's prayers. Great conversation, ladies, from my sister. See some of you all tomorrow. Yes, you will, whether you like it or not.
Thank you, Dustin. And thank you, Cindy, for having me on. I really appreciate the opportunity. I'm so glad we become friends.
Well, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. And everybody in the chat, thank you so much for joining us. All my members that have been scrolling here, thank you. I can't thank you enough. Those of you that have donated today, Dustin, Sean, James, I wholeheartedly appreciate it. And there goes Dustin again. Thank you so,
Aw.
so much. And on that note, we're going to call it a night. Amy, hang out for a minute.
All right.
Lisa said, nighty night, gang. Sorry, I missed most of it. It's okay. I'm looking forward to your food. I was listening, though. And I will see some of you tomorrow. Good night.